everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the month of July. I honestly can't believe time is flying by this fast. If you haven't had a chance to see my June wrap up and see all the wonderful books I read in the month of June, make sure to check out that video here. So I'll be quite honest, when it comes to TBR videos, or just the idea of a TBR in general, what I have found personally over the years is that it doesn't really work for me. I'm a really big mood reader, emphasis on mood. I genuinely cannot pick up a book if I'm not in the mood for that specific genre or like whatever the story is about. However, in the interest of being a content creator and also just wanting to give myself a little bit of structure into the rest of the summer, I am coming to you with a July TBR video. I will have a little disclaimer though, that doesn't mean I'm going to be reading all these books in the month of July. It's a very ambitious TBR because I'm quite an ambitious person, but I also recognize that things might come in the way that I don't foresee, and I'm probably just going to be in the mood to read other things that come my way. Without further ado, let's get started. This is just a glimpse into my TBR. I also have some books on loan from the library that I have to go pick up that I'll also be mentioning here today. If it wasn't obvious from my June TBR, I read a lot of romance. I recently have gotten into the romance genre and I'm very proud of myself, but I can honestly say that my brain is a little bit exhausted, so I don't have as much romance on my TBR this month. But I thought, why not? Let's get them out of the way first. So the first book that I have on my TBR is actually going to be Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, but I currently have the sequel in the Maple Hill series, Wildfire. Essentially, Icebreaker is another sports romance, hockey romance. I recently read the Vancouver Storm series and I really enjoyed that, so I wanted to try something else that was really popular in the genre. And my friend very kindly gave me her extra copy of Wildfire, which from my understanding is a camp romance where I believe the two main characters are camp counselors, which is really interesting in a POV that I haven't read from yet. Those first two books are going to be on my TBR. I should also add a disclaimer that I'm not actually going to be reading these in any particular order. This is just the order that I have them sitting on my lap. Next book that is on my TBR is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. So if you haven't had a chance to go watch my Cowboy series vlogs, definitely recommend. Because of that, I fell in love with Elsie Silver's writing and also just cowboy romance in general, Western style romance. And this is a romance that I keep seeing everywhere, so I'm really interested to see where it takes me. So essentially we're following our two main characters, Ford and Rosie, and Ford has just been awarded the title World's Hottest Billionaire, but he just wants to escape the press and he wants to live his little slow, soft girl life, if you will, and then one day a random 12-year-old girl stumbles into his life claiming to be his daughter. So now he's taking care of a 12-year-old girl that he was probably not expecting to, and his best friend's sister Rosie had just moved back into town. And somehow they will get intertwined, as they do with all happily ever after romance stories. Okay, the next book on my list is quite a shifting gears, but I did want to throw it in there because it's one that I bought a couple months ago and I'm really interested in reading it, and that is none other than Without You There Is No Us. This is actually a memoir by Suki Kim, and she is a high school teacher who was invited to teach a class of all boys in North Korea. I'm actually very interested in North Korea as a topic. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with those National Geographic documentaries, but I've been watching them ever since they've been popping them out on North Korea. There's just something so oddly fascinating about the totalitarian society. I have read a North Korean memoir before. I'll include the picture of it here. I do find these stories obviously devastating. They're very harrowing to read about, and I do think that this will be sort of a good refresh from all of the fiction that I've been reading, and it's just genuinely a topic that I am very passionate about and interested in learning more. The next book on my list is going to be no surprise to anyone, and I feel like it doesn't even need an introduction. I can't believe I'm seeing my face beside this book, but that is none other than Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So this is actually a teaser into another video that I have coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I encourage you to stay tuned. But yes, I am going to be reading Fourth Wing, probably a little bit against my will, but maybe in future me will come back and laugh and maybe I'll fall in love with it. We will see, but stay tuned. And then the last book that I have here is Needful Things by Stephen King. So as you can see, there's already a lot of sticky tabs here, and you might be thinking to yourself, Kasha, have you already read this book? So the answer is yes and no. Yes, I've attempted to read the book. No, I have not read it in full. So long story short, I actually started reading Needful Things with a friend around 2 years ago. We were buddy reading it, and as life will have it, we just simply never finished. It's unfortunate because I got through quite a chunk of Needful Things. I want to say I got to like at least 75-80%, but I remember distinctly at the time I would just started working in my first full-time position, so I think that was taking away a lot of my energy and focus from really diving into this bad boy. If you don't already know, Stephen King is one of my favorite authors, if not my favorite of all time, so I'm really excited to jump back into this world, and from what I remember, Needful Things was really cool. So if you're not familiar with what Needful Things is about, essentially we have our main character Leland Gaunt, and he is the owner of a little shop in Maine called Needful Things. As the title suggests, anything that you need is going to be at this little store. So you go and visit it, and essentially what you want is not there the first time, but if you come back, it is there. There's something sinister going on beyond this store, and we don't fully know what it is, and to be very honest with you, I don't really remember. If I had to guess, knowing Stephen King, it's probably something supernatural or dystopian, thrillery, but either way, regardless, I'm very excited. That's going to be my TBR for July. That's a total of 7 books, I believe, if I counted correctly. Again, I don't necessarily plan to read all of these in the month of July. This is what I hope to read. If I divert my path and I decide to read something else, then I will, and I will do that with absolutely no guilt or pressure. I'd love to hear what you're planning to read in the month of July below, so feel free to leave a comment as well. Let me know what you think about TBRs. Like I said, in general, I think they put a lot of pressure on people to read a certain amount in a certain amount of time. In my opinion, life can be just so unpredictable, and I don't like to put myself in that kind of box. This is more of an intention of what I intend to read for the month of July, but either way, I'm really excited to see what stories take me away. I'll see you guys later. Bye!